April 18, 1943, 0710 hours, 24,000 feet above the Solomon Sea, east of Bougainville Island. The air is thin and brittle, vibrating with the steady, unfamiliar hum of twin Allison engines running in perfect synchronization. Frost creeps along the inside edges of the cockpit canopy, spidering across the glass as Lieutenant Rex Barber tightens his oxygen mask and checks his fuel gauges for the third time in as many minutes. They are still dropping, slowly, relentlessly, but the needles remain within tolerance, barely. Below him, the Pacific stretches out in a vast, indifferent blue. No friendly ships, no rescue, no margin for error. This mission was never supposed to be possible. Months earlier, on the opposite side of the ocean, Japanese naval officers had laughed openly at the aircraft now cutting through the morning sky. In briefing rooms across Rabaul and Truk, Imperial Navy pilots mocked the Lockheed P-38 Lightning as an American curiosity, too large, too complex, too dependent on fuel. They called it Hikosuru Nenryo Tonku, the flying gas can. Twin booms, a central pod, tricycle landing gear, it looked nothing like the elegant, lightweight fighters flown by Japan's aces. Against the nimble Zero, they were certain it would burn, break, or simply run dry. The laughter had been sincere. The Zero was built for the knife fight, light, agile, devastating at close range. Japanese doctrine prized the turning battle, the spiraling duel where experience and instinct separated the living from the dead. American fighters had tried to meet that challenge early in the war and paid for it in blood. But the P-38 was never designed to turn with a Zero. It was designed to hunt. At Henderson Field, months before this morning, ground crews had stared at the Lightning with the same skepticism as their enemy. Its long wingspan crowded revetments, its engines demanded careful maintenance, its turbo superchargers whined like industrial machinery rather than aircraft. But when pilots climbed into the cockpit, closed the canopy, and pushed the throttles forward, something became immediately clear. This airplane did not feel fragile. It surged forward with a deep, confident acceleration, climbing faster than anything else in the Pacific. It held its speed in a dive where other fighters shuddered and threatened to come apart. Most importantly, it could fly farther, much farther than any single-engine fighter in theater. That range had changed everything. By early 1943, American intelligence had begun intercepting Japanese naval communications with increasing precision. On April 14th, a coded message was cracked that sent a shockwave through the Pacific command structure. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the architect of Pearl Harbor, Commander-in-Chief of the Combined Fleet, was scheduled to inspect forward bases in the Solomons. His itinerary was detailed, his timing precise, his aircraft identified. It was an opportunity that would never come again. But the target lay more than 400 miles from the nearest Allied airfield. No Wildcat could reach it, no Airacobra could survive the return trip. Only one aircraft in the Pacific had the legs for the mission: the flying gas can. The plan was surgical and unforgiving. 18 P-38s from the 339th Fighter Squadron would fly at wave-top height for hours, navigating by dead reckoning alone. No radios, no deviations. A single navigational error would scatter them into empty ocean. A single delay would miss the target entirely. If intercepted, they would be fighting at the extreme edge of their range. Now, as Barber scans the horizon, that reality presses in on him. His Lightning is heavy with fuel, sluggish in response. The engines hum steadily, but every vibration carries the same question: will they last? Ahead and slightly above, Major John Mitchell leads the formation, his aircraft rock solid, wings level. He has rehearsed this moment endlessly, calculating headings, timing the intercept down to the minute. There will be no second pass, no margin for heroics. The attack must be decisive. At 07:34, Mitchell raises his hand and signals the climb. The lightnings begin to pull upward, leaving the ocean behind. Altitude builds slowly, deliberately. The formation spreads, each pilot slipping into assigned position, eyes locked on the empty sky ahead. Somewhere beyond the cloud haze, 2 Japanese bombers are approaching on schedule. One of them carries the most important man in the Imperial Navy. The officers who once laughed at this aircraft are not here to see it now. The flying gas can is exactly where it was designed to be, far from home, fully fueled, and closing fast. The climb continues in silence. At 28,000 feet, the world below blurs into layers of haze and scattered cloud. Lieutenant Thomas Lanfear adjusts his mixture and leans forward slightly, peering past the long nose of his P-38. The cockpit smells lightly of oil and cold metal. His gloved fingers rest lightly on the controls, disciplined, economical. Every pilot in the formation knows the same thing. Fuel is life, and every unnecessary movement wastes it. The irony is not lost on them. The aircraft, mocked for its appetite, is now flying deeper into enemy airspace than any American fighter has ever dared. The Lightning's twin booms stretch back behind the cockpit, each housing an Allison V1710 engine with its own turbo supercharger. That system, complex, temperamental, and often misunderstood, gives the P-38 its true advantage. Where Japanese fighters gasp for air at altitude, the Lightning thrives. At high level, its engines breathe freely, maintaining power while enemy aircraft struggle to climb. Mitchell checks his watch. They are exactly on time. At 07:40 a.m., the faint glint appears on the horizon. 2 aircraft, silhouetted against the morning sun. They fly in disciplined formation, unhurried, unthreatened. A Mitsubishi G4M bomber in the lead, its long wings level, followed closely by a second bomber. Flanking them, like ceremonial guards, are 6 A6M-0s, experienced pilots, confident in their ability to deal with anything the Americans can field. Yamamoto is punctual. He always is. Mitchell gives the signal. The formation splits instantly, practiced and precise. 4 Lightnings drop away to draw off the escorts, while the remaining aircraft angle towards the bombers. Barber feels his aircraft surge as he advances the throttles. The Allison engines respond with a deeper roar, the airframe vibrating as speed builds. The Zeros react too late. They bank hard, engines screaming as they scramble for altitude, but the Lightnings are already diving, converting height into speed with ruthless efficiency. Barber's airspeed indicator climbs rapidly, 350, 380 miles per hour. The P-38 feels solid, planted, as if carved from a single piece of metal. This is not a turning fight. This is a kill run. Tracer fire erupts ahead as Lanfear opens up, his nose-mounted armament blazing. 4 50 caliber machine guns and a 20mm cannon fire in a tight, devastating stream. No convergence issues, no wing-mounted spread. Where the Lightning points, everything hits. The first Betty erupts in smoke and flame almost instantly. Pieces of aluminum skin tear away as rounds punch through the fuselage. Barber pulls up sharply, flashes past the bomber's wingtip, and glances back just in time to see it roll and plunge towards the jungle below. There is no parachute. The second bomber begins a desperate turn, its gunners firing wildly. Barber lines up again, squeezes the trigger, and feels the aircraft shudder as the cannon fires.
The Betty's right engine bursts into flame. It staggers, nose dropping, then disappears into cloud. Somewhere inside that aircraft, Admiral Yamamoto's journey ends. The Zeros finally close in. They attack with skill and aggression, slashing through the American formation, trying to force the Lightnings into tight turns where the Zero reigns supreme. Barber resists the instinct to pull hard on the stick. Instead, he pushes forward, diving again, letting speed be his shield. A Zero flashes past, impossibly close, its pilot's helmet visible for a split second before it vanishes behind him. This is where doctrine matters. Japanese pilots have been trained to dominate close engagements, to trust maneuverability above all else. But the Lightning refuses to play that game. It climbs when threatened, dives when pressed, and uses raw speed to disengage at will. Every pass is deliberate, every burst is short and lethal. One Zero tries to follow Barber in